I've ever seen by a superstar.
It is the sports story.
We live in this world where either you're a villain or you're a superhero.
Way outside, delivers! A dazzling display.
The back-to-back NBA Finals MVP, Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant's at that place where the all-time greats get the crossroads of physical and mental superiority.
Durant goes down holding his leg. Right away, he knew it.
He's a good teammate, a good person. It's not fair.
How devastating is this injury to Durant's career?
I know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant.
This just in to SportsCenter, according to Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne. Free agent stars Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard have been discussing scenarios that could include a future with them playing together. Two clear possibilities, according to Woj and Ramona, for them to sign with the same franchise, the Clippers and the Knicks. Yo, Adrian, as he joins us now, what are we to read into this, and what sort of details and flavor can you offer?
Well, listen, when you have great players like this out in the marketplace, no matter how close they might be, they're going to interact about the different scenarios that are available to them. And Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard have been doing that, Ramon and I have been told. And, you know, the two teams that they have really significantly in common right now on their free agent list are the Clippers and the Knicks. Both teams, you know, have the ability to go sign two free agents. The Nets can do that too. A more likely scenario for Durant, if he went to Brooklyn, would be with a point guard, Kyrie Irving. But it is a conversation that's been ongoing, and it just, you know, speaks to how wild this free agency period is going to be, because there are so many big market teams with max salary spots. There are so many big stars available, and it creates opportunities for players to talk about how they might fit together.
Right, talking about creating their own super team effectively. How close are they, and how close are their goals aligned?
It's unclear to me how close of a relationship they have. I know there's great mutual respect. These are two, you know, you could make the case that it might be the two best players in the league right now. Certainly Durant is going to miss either all of next season or very much most of next season with the Achilles injury. But it makes sense, and certainly you could imagine in LA, for example, with the Clippers, just think of the star power in Staples Center. Anthony Davis, LeBron James on one end of the building, and Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard on the other, and certainly in New York with the Knicks too. It would obviously instantly revive that organization. But I think especially here's the thing with both of these players though. I think they're both fiercely independent guys. I think they're going to make a decision based on what they want. I think Kawhi Leonard, they've both won championships. They've both been final MVPs. They don't have to ring chase here. They can go and live and have an organization built around them. So again, this is one scenario in place. There are a lot of scenarios in this free agency. I wouldn't read too much into it that, hey, this is inevitable. It's not. But if you're Kawhi Leonard and you're Kevin Durant, of course you're having these conversations.
Well, and you said that neither of them has anything to prove, but is there a sense that neither of them wants to be the guy alone, that perhaps going into this with somebody else takes the pressure off?
Well, I think players of that caliber understand you can't win without other great players. And I think, you know, Kawhi Leonard did it a little differently. Now, he was on a great San Antonio team, but certainly some of their stars were a little more on the back end of their career when they beat Miami, and then in Toronto, a very talented team, but he was the guy. And we know what Kevin Durant has been a part of in Golden State. It's been a unique setup, a unique group of talent, unlike we've ever seen in the league. You know, guys at different parts of their career, based on what they've experienced, they want different things. And I think there are a lot of decisions for both of them to make. There are a lot of great choices out there. And this is where it gets difficult for them to try to parse it all out and say, what makes the most sense for me? Could it be with him? Evocative of the big three in Miami and all those talks that went on many moons ago, it seems like. It started all of this. That's right. It's wild, and you are all over it, Woj. Stay tuned
How should Brooklyn approach these meetings?
Well, I think they're both different here. Now, we'll start with Kevin Durant. Here's a player that will likely be out for most of the 2019-20 season. Your pitch to Durant is about 2020 as far as how the roster is going to shape out, if it is a player like Kyrie Irving that is going to join, and how this team can be built out. Remember, Durant will be there for another 3 years, and as far as how they can sustain it, remember, they've got a nice young core with Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen. They've got some future draft picks down the road, and they've got the flexibility there. And the other thing is, too, is that they've got a wild card. They've got Dr. Martin O'Malley, who is the Nets team doctor, who did the Achilles on Kevin Durant here. And so there is that familiarity there. And I think with Kyrie, it's a little bit of both. It's about now, 2019, and also the future. And
Kyrie, Clay, Kemba, the main event in free agency. Teams are free to conduct meetings and make offers starting tomorrow at 6 Eastern. But don't sleep on the undercard.
No, stay very woke. Dynasties have been built on finding diamonds in the rough. Here's a look at what free agents are under the radar and how they compare to current and past big-name free agents. We saw it in 2010 with LeBron.
This is going to be fun to watch.
And in 2016 with KD.
It's Golden State for Durant.
Just 3 years later, the landscape of the NBA will likely be transformed again by free agency.
Kyrie, Kemba, Kawhi.
A major competition for multiple free agents.
Several teams were in a position to make a run at the stars, including the Knicks, Nets, and Clippers, who all have paths to 2 max free agent slots. But free agency isn't just about the stars. It's also about finding value. There are 2 free agents in this summer's class that ranked in the top 10 in real plus-minus, which estimates on-court impact measured in points differential per 100 possessions. Those players? Not Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, or Kemba Walker. It was actually Nikola Vucevic, who ranked just behind Anthony Davis and ahead of LeBron James. The other is NBA champion Danny Green, one of 8 players to have an offensive and defensive real plus-minus above 2.
3 is good! Danny Green!
Other key names to keep an eye on are Terrence Ross, J.J. Redick, and Bojan Bogdanovic. They all scored at highly efficient rates this past season, ranking in the top 6 in points per touch among 173 players with at least 2,500 touches. The other 3 players that ranked in the top 6 were all-stars: Leonard, Paul George, and Klay Thompson. Another summer of chaos is upon us. More than 200 free agents with potentially $2 billion to be spent. Sometimes, all it takes is one under-the-radar move, separating a franchise from a championship. So, which teams have the space to land some of these under-the-radar free agents? Well, if the Knicks strike out on KD and all of the marquee names, they'll have a league-high $70 million to spread around, with the Nets not too far behind.
But those numbers are astounding. Yes. All right, calm.
Sitting by 45 like I'm Jordan on the floor. Here we go, against the grain is what they say my name for.
Fall away for the win. Got it! Kawhi Leonard is a machine. Flushes over Giannis.
I'm unforgettable.
Gallin's on a dive. Classic Kemba. Durant for 3. It's good. Kevin Durant. Oh, he puts it in. Thompson turning and shooting. What a shot by Klay Thompson.
I'm unforgettable.
Kyrie. Oh, and pass. Losing eyes from the crowd. Putting on a show with the ball handling. Layup and good.
I'm unforgettable.
Breaking news this morning on SportsCenter. Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard have been talking amongst themselves about their futures and possibly playing together. That report from our Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne. The Clippers and the Knicks have the salary cap space to sign both. Now, that's the breaking news. If KD and Kawhi do join forces, then that team would have 2 of the 3 active players to win multiple Finals MVP awards. They've both won the award the last 3 years, with KD winning in 17 and 18 before Kawhi taking home the award earlier this month. Back now with our NBA front office insider, Bobby Marks. All right, Bobby, show us how all this would work. Start with the Knicks.
The Knicks are the simple math right now, and this is easy. So we're going to start with a player like Kawhi Leonard. That leaves you with $38 million for a player like Kevin Durant, who also makes $38 million. I told you we're going to start easy here, and that gets you right there. You'd have a little bit money left over for maybe a minimum player, and then you'd have to fill out your roster. But here is your young players, and remember, Durant likely out for most of the year. And when we pivot and we talk about, we'll put these guys back in the free agency, and we talk about the Clippers here. Now, the Clippers have a little bit more work to do, but there is a path to get there. And what they're going to do here, well, first they're going to renounce a player like Patrick Beverley. See the money, it's going up. They're going to, Rodney McGruder has a qualifying offer. Ivica Zubac has a qualifying offer. Sindarius Thornwell and Tyrone Wallace are going to be waived. And that gets you to $56 million. You're still not at that magic number of 70. And when you put in a player like Kevin Durant, right? $19 million. So who's the odd man out? Danilo Gallinari. He goes out. That gets you back to 41. And now you slide Kawhi Leonard in, and you still got $9 million left in room here. And Gallinari, you don't have to find a trade partner for him. You can stretch his money out over 3 years and still have enough room to sign both players.
Interesting. All right, Knicks and Clippers fans are like, woohoo, we might get a both. We'll see what happens. Bobby Marks, thank you, my friend.